It's Monday and time for the Back to Business podcast, featuring Calgary's industry leaders. Welcome today's show host, Kim Hayden.
Okay, quick story. Have you ever had your car towed from an event? Well, recently I was at an event and the gal sitting next to me had her car towed. But she didn't sweat the small things. Of course, Kimberly Beaune, hello, a local creative twist event coordinator, amazing gal. Who would you rather to have on your side? So stick around for this. You're in for a treat. We're going to be talking about how you can not sweat the small stuff, but have an amazing experiential event that can create community and bring your corporation back to the front line. We here at the Calgary Petroleum Club, in a spirit of reconciliation, honor and acknowledge that the land on which we learn, work, and live is Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. This place is a traditional homeland for the First Nations and Métis peoples, and today we all are part of this treaty land. All right, welcome to the show, Kimberly.
Oh, thanks so much, Kimberly.
We're just going to do the all pink, all Kim show here. All right. Do you go by Kimberly or Kim?
Either one. Most times I introduce myself as Kimberly, but by the time people get to know me, they call me Kim.
Okay. And I'm always Kim, and only the people who I either owe money to or are mad at me call me Kimberly.
There you go.
Yeah, so I hear Kimberly and I get flashbacks to my childhood. Kimberly Joe, if you had, right? So what's your middle name?
Lane.
Lane. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Joe. Lane, that's a different one. Mm-hmm. Is that French?
No, my mother just liked it.
Your mother just liked it. Did your mom watch the same soap operas my mom watched? Because I'm named from a soap opera.
Oh, I don't know. I know she got the spelling from my name from a Kimberly Clark Kleenex box in the hospital room.
Oh, God, I hope my mom actually watched the soap opera. Because now that you mention it, Kimberly Clark, yeah.
Are you L-Y or L-E-Y?
Just L-Y.
Me too.
Not either. My mom knew that she had limited opportunities to get maximum potential. So it's like, just skip the E. Don't give her any extra, right? No extra vowels in there.
There you go.
All righty. So, Miss Kimberly, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes. Well, my name is Kimberly Beaune, CMP-CSEP, which are acronyms for the event industry. And I am an event storyteller. I have a company called Creative Twist. We're just celebrating our 10th year in business, and we help organizations communicate their core purpose or message through the experience of events, whether that's live, virtual, or hybrid.
Okay, and the hybrid's crazy. I want to dive into that a little bit because there's a lot of technology, and some people are saying now don't do hybrid because it takes away from the live, whereas I'm all about more content. I'm like
and more content. Audience, more reach, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I do want to, one of the words, and just so everybody knows, of course, I had a 20-minute conversation before the show, and everybody's probably like, I wish I could have been on that conversation. And no, I cannot recall all of it, but I do remember there is one word that really stands out, and that's experiential.
Yes.
Let's talk about that because we have come out of COVID when everybody was locked down. And yes, folks, I know COVID's like a decade ago. However, it changed the way society in general is wired, I believe.
It did. It did, and it didn't. So experiential is the way of communicating through bringing people together and eliciting an emotion about having them experience something together. I love shared experiences. That is like what makes my heart beat is curating shared experiences. But I have to say COVID also has challenged us in the ability to get people off their couch, get them away from Netflix. And so your run-of-the-mill event, your run-of-the-mill meeting is not going to do it. So you need to curate something that's going to entice them off the couch, out of their home office, into something, that is going to engage them more than just your standard run-of-the-mill event or meeting.
So then corporations, and I would see this also as hitting nonprofits. Yeah. Corporations and nonprofits are hitting this on two fronts. You just said two things, getting them off the couch and out of their home office.
Yeah.
So we have another epidemic hitting globally that, we're seeing it's like 30% of office space will never, or at least in the next decade, not be utilized. Mm-hmm. So we have vacancies, a plethora of vacancies in our downtown sectors. Yeah. So that erodes who wants to go, right? Because I don't want to go. But then that also erodes who's going to show up to be part of the corporate event or who's going to support the nonprofit. Absolutely. So I'm seeing this as all the way around. So if
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about the art of the experiential event. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. When you meet with somebody and they give you the very typical, we've got to raise money for this, right? It's like Shakespeare said, there's 7 original storylines, right? So we're working with 7 original storylines. I need to raise money for this. I need to get this message out so we can make more money, so forth and so on.
Right.
What does a storyteller, an event storyteller, how do you enter that space and how do you start that conversation to get them to rethink the old buffet?
By understanding, first off, what it is they really want to achieve, what it is that they want when people leave their event, whether it's a virtual event or an in-person event or some curated mix in the middle, what they want people to leave having felt, having learned, having experienced, and what they want people to share about that at the end of the event. And so, is it that XYZ charity is the best charity in the world? Or is it that XYZ charity really made an impact on this person and really changed this client's life in a way that touched their heart so much that they want to support this charity moving forward, right? And how do we tell that story in a meaningful way so that it's so that it really resonates and leaves with them? And is that by having representation of the client base of that charity, like who the charity is serving in the room, having them tell their stories in a authentic and meaningful way. One of the best and very simple experiential ways that I've seen a charity work is they were selling balloons. And in the balloon, there was a little piece of paper, and the little piece of paper corresponded to a gift, a prize. Some of the prizes were big. Some of the prizes were a box of chocolates, right? Very simple.
Hey, don't knock the box of chocolates. Forrest Gump says the box of chocolates.
There you go.
Life is like.
There you go. But they had the recipients of the charity, the clients of the charity, selling the balloons. So these were children with disabilities and all dressed up in their nines at this gala and selling these balloons for $25 a pop. And
pun fully intended.
They made a mint because they were having conversations with the people. The people felt a connection. Like, this is why I'm here, right? I'm not here just to be in the room with all these other people in tuxedos. I'm here to serve these children and help them have a better life. And then bring it to the gala, and on screen there's a story being told about that child that you met in the lobby and how this charity has met. And that brings it full circle. Yeah. And you leave there going, oh my God, I need to support because Amanda had this. I've met Amanda and I've seen her story and what this charity has done for her. And that it wasn't my event, but it's one of the best examples that I've seen of tying it to the heartstrings.
The bringing it back in, so people, it's not selling the widget anymore, which is what it used to be. You'd come, you'd get either the dry chicken put in front of you, or you'd have the buffet, and you'd have some old codger on the stage telling you, thank you so much for buying a ticket to this event this year. We were able to do. The reality is you see nonprofits, and I'm going to go back to the nonprofit space, because if anybody has absolutely nailed the selling through story or engagement through story, it's so Operation Smile, UNICEF. We look at these organizations, and they don't tell you about the can they're dropping from 30,000 feet and food into a war zone. They're telling you about the person it serves.
Absolutely.
And I find that fascinating that we're bringing that in. These events are no longer about who am I going to be seen with, and more about how am I going to be serving.
Right.
So I think that, am I understanding that that's kind of the shift that we're seeing in this space?
Yes. It's not so much who you're going to be seen with. Now, do corporations want to be involved as supporting? Yes. To be seen in the room as valuing this organization? Absolutely. And is there an opportunity for corporations to lean in a little bit more and help those charities tell their story in an even richer way? And then those corporations can get a little bit of agency from doing that.
That social proof.
Social proof,
absolutely,
and value that they're not in it just for bottom line, but there is a social purpose, a give back purpose to their corporate culture and their corporate ethos.
Okay. I like that. You just said one of the words that right now people are really trying to redefine: corporate culture. We are seeing an erosion through technologies being able to do more efficient positions, so we're able to dwindle down the people. We have people sitting at home working from their home offices. I'm just as guilty, folks. I work from a home office. Do you think there's a space for corporate to start doing, instead of always doing an outward event? So, we've got to attach ourselves to a nonprofit so we can show everybody that we're good people, not bad people. But is there a way that corporate and mid to larger scale businesses should maybe even be looking at doing an event for the people that are working in their culture?
Absolutely.
I think there's something there. Because I think a lot of people are feeling not seen, not heard, not valued. There's a reason they're sitting on their couch. There's a reason they're not part of your culture. But what is your culture?
Yeah. So funny you should mention that. During COVID, I had to pivot. I'm in the live event space. Yeah. I had, I was in Las Vegas at an event conference with 4,000 event professionals and caterers when they named the pandemic. And it was like a tidal wave hit Las Vegas. It was, people were, I could see them sitting in the hallways on chairs, talking to their teams, crying because they had to lay people off. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in business that week. And I was a small player, and, so I had to pivot. So I opened a virtual event venue. And one of the things that I did with that was I wrote a book with a friend called Donuts in the Lunchroom, How to Engage Your Team Virtually. And it was all about engaging your team now that you're working from different places. And keeping your team engaged, keeping them connected. And it was a great learning experience for me to open a virtual event venue and to pivot my business to virtual. And it was a great experience to help organizations keep their team connected. And now that we've gone back to live, people have forgotten that. And their staff hasn't gone back to the office. Maybe they're 2 days a week, but they're still not connected. You're still not having that team understanding of pushing the same rock up the hill together. And I think we need to find ways to get them to do that more.
I want to dive a little bit deeper, maybe in a little bit more detail also, around how corporations can leverage kind of some of those older school kind of events to re-engage that missing 30%. The 30% that actually could be the reason they scale to the next level, but they aren't engaged because they don't feel there is a corporate culture.
Right.
So that's what I'd like to dive in with you.
Excellent.
So let's dive into this and rethink events. We've had to rethink everything. Corporate needs to get their employees back to being advocates. Nobody is a better advocate than somebody who believes in the purpose of what they're working for. And it's employees. So I'm an entrepreneur, but my daughter came to me and she said, "Mom, I'm not like you. I don't want to live on the edge. I don't want to be out doing this. I don't want to talk to everybody everywhere I go. I just want a job." I looked at her and said, "That's okay, because without people like you, you won't have success with people with me." Like it's just, this is the symbiotic work. So how do we get the what's a good example? So let's just make up a company. We're not going to name any specific company, but let's take a look at a company that would benefit from having an annual event to celebrate their corporate culture with their employees. So give me any company that you have seen that maybe is declining and struggling with employees that could benefit from an event for their employees.
So, well, I think what you need to look at is what culture do you want to curate? What culture do you want to bring to your organization? And then find a way to give your employees an experience together. Bring them into the same room. And it could, if you're a national organization and you can't afford to fly people out, you can do it virtually. I actually won an award, national award, for a curated retreat that I did for a law firm, where we had them all come into a virtual event venue. We custom built the floor plan. It looked like a beach resort, and everybody wore Hawaiian shirts, and we're going to have some fun. And yes, there was talk about big picture plans for the firm for the next year. There was talk about what they were doing as an organization, but then there was also opportunity for people who hadn't been in the same room together for a while to sit at a virtual table together and just shoot the shit.
I've seen those where the tables are open now, so you can see who's at a table and just go sit with them.
Yeah, so
I was at an event like that.
Yeah, so that may have been the Remo platform. So my virtual event venue, Connect Event Hub, was built on that platform.
Very cool.
And we could completely custom, because I'm a designer, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to customize the environment, the space, and so that's what we did. And we did a virtual escape room with them. We sent them a box to everybody's home.
I love that.
Yes.
I went to an event. Okay, so guys, squirrel, we're chasing squirrel here, folks. You're sitting with an ADHD gal, and we just talked about swag.
Yes.
I got the coolest box from an event, a virtual event during COVID. And this box had in it a cool little do not disturb sign that went on my door, and it was just a funny one. And then I had this thing to sit on. It was Leap, based on the book Leap. It was all about building your business virtually. And so I had this paperweight that was in there, which couldn't have been cheap to ship to Canada. But then I had snacks in there. And it had, it just had all these, it had these, first time I'd ever seen them, these little tablets that you could put in your water that had all the energy stuff in it. I don't know. But it was just so cool. And I still have pieces of that with me. I still have it scattered throughout the house because it was just the coolest thing because it was a present. I got a present. Yeah. I was so excited, right? And that's half the fun of going to an event, to see the swag you can get. Yeah.
And you can do it across, virtually by sending these event boxes and then curating an experience around the event box. One of the examples I wrote in the experiential marketing article that I put in the spring issue of the Connect magazine is how we sent items for a charcuterie board to clients of a law firm and to the lawyers, and how they, it was a different law firm, but how they did a virtual event with a chef who trained them how to put together a beautiful charcuterie board. Everybody got her book. Everybody got the items to put together the charcuterie board and a bottle of wine. Hello. And it was a great experience.
And one of the funnest nights I had was during COVID, where we were selected. I was selected to as one of the guests for a Wolf appliance evening. So we were selected as recipients to be part of or engage with this Cook with the Chef night. And it was all done through Wolf Appliance. Wolf Appliance, who would have thought, right? But they had sales that they had to make. So they actually hand selected, and I was selected as one of their people. Not that I have a Wolf Appliance, but I would definitely say this event made me think of Wolf on a regular basis. But we cooked with the chef, and it was a couple's night. It was a Valentine's box, and it all came to the door, and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And it was one of the funnest nights I've had with my husband in a long time. If you hear this, honey, just an idea. Yeah. Wolf, if you're listening to this, thank you. But yeah, I think it's all in the details.
Yeah.
Is that what event planning is? It's all in the details?
It's all in the details. It's all creating a unique experience. But so you don't have a Wolf appliance. You weren't cooking on a Wolf appliance, but you've said their name, and I've now said it twice, right?
Yeah.
So that's experiential marketing. That is them getting their brand out there by creating an experience that you're going to tell friends about, that you're going to tell colleagues about, right? And it doesn't have to be crazy expensive. It could be a wine tasting in the cellar at the Petroleum Club, right? It could be taking people out on an ATV for an experience if your clientele would really love something like that. It's not because you're selling ATVs, but it could be that you're wanting to bring clients together so they can have connection, and they're like, oh yeah, I had XYZ company, refrigeration company took me out on this event, and it was so much fun, and I made these connections, and they're top of mind. So next time anybody needs anything for refrigeration, I'm calling these guys, right? It can be that simple. And so that's why marketers are saying experiential way and above any other traditional or even non-traditional method of marketing is the way to go. I recently joined a worldwide organization called the World Experience Organization.
Oh, cool.
And once a week, I get on a campfire video call with people who build experiences all over the world. And it's been really, really enlightening and interesting to me. And everything from a woman who is a clown, and she does experiences about community and bringing people together to engage with their community through her art of clown, to people who built the Harry Potter experience. at
Oh,
Disney.
cool.
Like it's
Cool. Yeah, I just think that there's, as we move away from the 9 to 5 industrial age, and we move into this creators space and I think a lot of people are looking for those experiences. I know that I come to events either for the food, the wine, or something that I'm going to learn or engage. I don't typically go to an event for the company. Does that make sense, right? I'm not looking at, I've gone to events where I didn't even know who was hosting it,
right.
but I wanted to be there because it was either a cause that I knew or it gave me, the cause gave me a reason to spend $100 or $130 on myself because as a female entrepreneur, and folks, if you're a woman and you're an entrepreneur, do not sit there and say, I would never do that. As a female entrepreneur, I know that we all sit here and go and try and justify, why should I spend the money here when I need to spend it over here? Yeah. So to justify our experience, but imagine this, and you and I are going to talk post-show, and folks, there's going to be cool things coming out of 2025. Imagine this. If everybody who is looking to truly expand their business and scale their business, even just by a few % this year, right? That if you invited others into the story of why you want to do that, not about the money, what are you going to do with it? How is that expansion going to impact a segment of society or a focus, a cause, or an accessibility, right? So, ladies, just invest the money. That's literally on my chart this year. There's a couple people that put out all the events in Calgary. Yeah. And I said, I will invest, and I've got to actually discuss it with my business partner, but I will invest X amount of dollars a week in tickets to go to these events so that I can expand my awareness of what is important to others.
Absolutely. You need to open yourself up to opportunities.
Absolutely.
And if you open yourself up to opportunities, make an effort to be in the room, to engage with an experience, with an opportunity. You never know what's going to come from it, right? You may not go into that room to meet somebody, but you might meet somebody who is going to make a big shift in your business, who you can connect. And Kim, I know you're a connector. So you can connect somebody with somebody else and make a big shift in their business, right? It's about embracing the opportunity. And I think that is what experiential marketing is about, what the experience economy in 2025 is going to be about, is creating opportunities for people to engage.
On that note, you know what, guys? Get out there, share what you got. But remember, if you're not creating story, you're not reaching those who need you. I promise you this. 2025 is the year of the story, and nothing sells a story like a great event.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you for joining us today on the Back to Business podcast. Be sure to visit calpeteclub.com, CALPETECLUB.com, to find out more about upcoming events, networking opportunities, and membership. If you are not already a valued member at the CPC, where we are proudly connecting and supporting Calgary's business leaders.